Batman 40. And I go, yeah, and then charge me a little bit on top. I mean, we didn't really do anything, it just sort of happened. One day, you know, we were selling a few pumps here and there and making money, and then the next minute we've got a warehouse and I've got people working for me, you know, and banks are saying, we won't give you money because we've got to expand. We started contacting publishers and then wholesaling up to people like Smiths and Menzies and stuff like that. We were even selling to them, you know, the really big ones. We were selling rare stuff to them. It wasn't worth the market. And it just exploded. It just like half it.
By the late 90s, Caren was at the peak of its success. It was one of the leading players in the market, selling books now, as well as magazines. Now it's a shadow of its former self. Turnover and staff levels have been more than half. How was it that a computer system could cause such devastation? Computers are supposed to help businesses, aren't they?
Right, this is it. This is the warehouse. In the good old days, we were twice this size. I mean, we had 2 of these whole units, but everything's scaled down now. Everything's in here. In the good old days, we could be taking more up to 10 grand on orders a day, some days. But now, we've gone right back to what we do best, which is these specialist horror mags.
Is that what these people are behind you?
Yeah, quite busy today actually. We've got quite a few orders coming, so the ones packing up and getting ready for dispatch. We're a great day.
So explain how the old system works.
Well, under the old system, what we do is we pack each order individually. So, you know, that meant we'd have the customer's order, but then we literally had to walk all around the warehouse. I mean, you could be picking up magazines from over this side, you might then have to come all the way back and pick up, you know, a kind of food from here. And if there were books in the order, that would mean you'd have to go into the second unit. So basically, at the end of the day, someone has to call miles.
No one disputed that Caren needed a new system. It had simply outgrown the old one. The new one promised major advantages.
Well, the new system, what happened was that the computer dealt with all the orders in batches, so the computer would give us a list of all the books that we needed for that day. So then, you know, you take the trolley, you throw, you pick up however many numbers of the magazine we needed for that day, you go somewhere else, you pick up, you know, so by the time you got back, you had everything that you needed, and you could just pack up the order and dispatch it.
So the old system meant a trip around the warehouse for every order received. But the new system would match the orders together, so that with one trip around the warehouse, a packer could collect the goods for several orders. In theory, a great saving in time and effort.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, and if it worked, it would have been brilliant, but it didn't.
Why didn't it work? Perhaps the key reason, over-ambition, combined with a lack of clear objectives.
Nobody told me anything. I just heard lots and lots of rumours that there was this company going to come in and completely replace the system with a state-of-the-art, fully integrated new system.
It was initially just intended for the warehouse, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But the rumours seemed to grow and grow, and nobody really seemed to know what was going on. And so in the end, they were talking about computerising everything.
So Caren Books went from computerising just their warehouse operations to a fully integrated system. Fully integrated means that nearly every function of Caren would be computerised. In theory, the computer would be all-seeing, all-knowing. But what about in practice? The more complex the system, the more room for error. And the more vulnerable Caren would be if things went wrong. The other question was, did the company actually need a fully integrated system? Tony Green used to be the IT manager at Caren Books. It's his job to oversee the project from the company's point of view.
So why do you think Craven Books went in for such an ambitious system?
Well, as far as I was concerned, that's the brief I was given, to install a fully integrated system.
And was that brief ever written down?
Don't recall it was ever actually written down. Certainly, I do remember that it was mentioned in a meeting that we should go the whole way.
But Craven weren't alone in their over-ambition. The long history of computer disasters is littered with similar cases. Lynn Clark has seen most of them.
I think one of the problems is they try to do it all at once. You know, what we call the Big Bang. The Big Bang can just be an explosion in the air because you just try to do too much at once. Classic one is the Department of Social Security. They had this idea that they were going to pull together all their data from throughout the system. And what it was going to do was it was going to bring together all the statistics from the whole country about welfare and Social Security spending, so that any politician who wanted to make a point could get whatever information they needed at the push of a button. And the whole thing was supposed to be up and running in 2.5 years.
What happened?
Well, you can just imagine. It was far too enormous a project. It was huge, and it didn't work. They just couldn't get control of it any more than they can get control of their paper systems, which is basically the first step. There was £4 million on software that nobody could use before they abandoned this project. And you think about all the fuss and bother about welfare experiments, talk about a waste of the taxpayers' money.
So what do you do instead of the Big Bang approach?
Well, you know, the sensible way to go is to break your project up into little modules, do a bit at a time. I know it's not very exciting to the IT people, it's not very sexy, but it works. And it doesn't ruin your business because you spend less money, you don't sweat things. If it doesn't work, you haven't lost much. And if it does work, you move on to the next. That's really the sensible way to go.
So what happened with Craven Books?
Well, they just started out with a far too ambitious a plan. They went for the Big Bang, and in the end, that went to their second fatal mistake.
As is often the case, Craven used outside consultants to develop their system. But there are dangers in relying too much on outside help. Are they really on your side, or do they want to maximise their fees? Don't they have a vested interest in a high-prestige, all bells and whistles project?
They are software consultants, they are hardware consultants, they're suppliers. All these people have a very big vested interest in big projects. And the advice they give is kind of geared in that direction. And they also have much less understanding of Craven's particular way of doing business, Craven's problems. The more complicated the project became, the more dependent Craven was on these suppliers and these consultants. And that just led to disaster.
I did my research, I talked to a number of consultancies, and based on the discussions that I've had with management, I came across one consultancy who assured me that they could produce exactly what we wanted, yeah.
John Mentor is a consultant in charge of the Craven project.
Some people say that companies like mine exploit companies like Craven, but perhaps don't really know what they want.
No, I would say that was completely unfair. We spent a long time with Craven Books trying to help them find what they wanted. A lot of time. Meeting after meetings, going back, trying to sort out problems. We did everything we possibly could. There's no exploitation here whatsoever. At the end of the day, it has to be the client's responsibility to work the system that they have asked us to put in place. But we certainly did everything that we could to make this thing work.
Don't you think Craven Books was aware of these dangers, though?
Well, you know, they should have been. But what tends to happen is, when a computer is on the engine, is that normally sensible, sane business people go mad. They lose all their common sense. It's like computers become kind of drugs. And they'll say yes to anything.
There are two basic approaches to providing software. The first is to use an industry standard package. This is software that's been tried and tested by other companies in the same business. The advantage? It's the cheapest solution since all the programming has been done. The disadvantage? All businesses are different and may have to change their ways of working to suit the software. Option 2, the tailored solution. This means programming from scratch. You get a system which meets your needs, if you're lucky. But the downside is, it's horribly expensive. In fact, Craven went for a combination of the two options, standard package which the consultants modified. But that approach also has its danger.
Well, we looked at all the options, standard package being one of them, but at the end of the day, that just an off-the-shelf system wouldn't do everything that they wanted it to do. You know, it's not like a suit that you would buy from Burns. So we're talking about complicated systems here, and an off-the-shelf package may have been okay for 60% of what they needed to do, but not the other 40%.
Why didn't you then take and make a solution from scratch?
No, we looked at that. We looked at it. I mean, that's what I would have liked to have done, but they just didn't have the budget to do that. So, in the end, the compromise that we reached was to take a system that we put together for another firm and to modify it. So, in a sense, they got the best of both worlds. They got a system that, in a way, was tailor-made for them, but didn't cost them a fortune.
That sounds like